What's up, everybody? Anthony Cosenza here, and as we have teased for the better part of 2 weeks now, we've got a very special guest, right, John Sheeran? It's kind of becoming a yearly tradition with this guest, and I'm pretty stoked about it. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty well, man. But it's nice to interview the same people again because we get to ask them new questions, and it's just a great friendship relationship that we've developed. We've got Sam Hubbard in the waiting. We're gonna have some time with him. Here he is right now. Sam, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, an annual tradition, unlike any other. We seem to talk to you every year around this time, and it's so great to have you on the show again, Sam. You are joining us courtesy of Miller Lite, and we are appreciative of your time. How's everything going? Been a whirlwind of a year last year and up to this point, but how you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, we're in the dog days of camp right now. Kind of hit reset. We forgot about the whirlwind of last year, and we're on to a whole another season, another process, another journey, and I'm enjoying it. It's going well.
Well, it's good to be with you because we talked about how we talk to you about this time every year, and the conversation's a little different this time. And we always kind of say, what's going on with camp? How are things? What's the attitude like? And you're hoping that this team takes the next step. Well, they did. You guys took a major step forward last year, made the Super Bowl and whatnot. So I guess now the question is, what's it not what is it going to take to get there, but now how to get back there? What's the mindset like? What's the approach like within the locker room and the coaches? Kind of, what's the mindset right now as you look to repeat as AFC champions and potentially even Super Bowl champions?
Yeah, I mean, it's not any different than it's been the last year. We've got the same mindset. I think we just have kind of an unspoken confidence, and we're all pretty sure of ourselves. We've got a lot of great leadership in the locker room, a lot of people that have played a lot of snaps and big moments, big plays, and that's just on our resume now, and we're working like we always do, brick by brick, day by day. We're not putting pressure on ourselves, like repeat as champions or anything. It's going to be a battle week by week. We got to take care of the AFC North first, and that's where our focus is at.
And I think you guys have a roster that's filled with players who won at previous levels. Like you yourself in 2014, you were redshirted with Ohio State, but you guys won the national championship that year, and then you had to reset, and then you played the next 3 years. What is, I guess, the difference between coming back from winning a championship and then coming back from just falling short? Is there any difference in terms of making sure that you guys are still locked in, or is that difference in result that kind of makes for a different kind of offseason, I guess?
It's a big thing when you have success. It's how you handle that. It tells a lot about you as an individual and about your team, how you can handle success, winning games. You come back to work. Are you working just as hard? Are you doing all the things that got you there in the first place? And, whether we won or lost that last game, I think our team, the guys we have, handle adversity and success both equally, and we got a lot of guys that are very consistent, showing up the same way every day, and we always challenge each other to be consistent and be the same guy every day, whether it's going good or bad, because there's some bad coming this season. It does every year, and there's some good coming too. So you just got to be level throughout, and that's what we focus on.
Talking with Bengals defensive end Sam Hubbard. Happy to be having him on our show once again. He is joining us courtesy of Miller Lite. We'll talk about really cool thing Miller Lite's doing, by the way. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes there. But Sam, before we kind of talk about, how things have been looking at practice through the preseason, all of that, I want to take a step back, and I want to get your thoughts on the offseason. Not only what the Bengals did in the draft and free agency to address some things on their team, but also as you look around, I've kind of labeled this offseason as kind of keeping up with the Joneses, and the Bengals are the Joneses. It seems like the AFC North is trying to either emulate what the Bengals did last year or see that they've got a stacked roster and say, to get through the AFC, we got to go through the Bengals now. And so as you look at what the Bengals did this offseason and what other teams that'll be vying for the AFC this year, I'd love to just kind of get your thoughts and impressions as to how this offseason played out.
Yeah, it was something, just to especially free agency. You just look on Twitter every day. It's a new name going to a new team that you would never expect. And I think it just all starts with the quarterback, having your guy. And obviously we've got our guy, and that's just such a starts with that, and everything revolves around that. And having Joe is just, springboarded us as a team. And then it just starts. I mean, you got to have veteran free agents that buy into your culture, and I think we've got some really good additions. The guys that we brought in from a veteran standpoint, and the rookies really fit what we are and who we are and how we work very well, and that's always great to see. And I can't speak for other teams, but yeah, it was crazy to see all these big name guys go on to different teams, and you'll be watching. I'm sure I'll be watching film and be like, no way, he's on that. He's on that. The NFL.
Yeah, so now you're in training camp, you're in the preseason, and we all know about what your quarterback kind of went through the past couple of weeks. But you also, believe, had some practices missed here and there. How are you feeling? Just a quick update on how you're going as preseason and camp is going along.
I'm feeling really good. I'm at a point in my career where I've got a lot of snaps, and I can be more cautious to get through the preseason, to get to the Sundays when it really matters. And I'm back fully healthy, feeling great. Got a lot of confidence that I can build on from last year. Coach Hobby and I and Trey, we're all pushing each other every day, and I can't wait to put it on display this season.
Talking with Sam Hubbard, who is joining us courtesy of Miller Lite. Sam, you talked about it just a second ago about the amount of snaps. You've taken a lot of snaps, and towards the end of the season and in the postseason, you and Trey Hendrickson were taking a lot of snaps. The injury to Larry Ogunjobi on the defensive line kind of hurt some things, and obviously just natural attrition throughout. The unfortunate truth about the NFL, just injuries and whatnot. I felt like you guys were taking a lot of snaps towards the end there. Obviously, you guys are incredibly effective and were incredibly effective, but the team is also looking for some rotational help and someone to really step up in that regard. You've got Cam Sample, you've got Joseph Osai coming back, and others now. How is the defensive line shaping up in terms of getting some of those players in those rotational roles stepping up? We had Wyatt Hubert, retire kind of suddenly here. So, I know there's a lot in the mix there.
Yeah, that's one thing I've actually been really pleasantly surprised with. Cam Sample trained with me this offseason. He's looked incredible. I think he's going to have a great year. And having, Joseph back healthy, he's getting better every day, getting more experience under his belt. We got some young guys on the inside, Jeffrey Gunter, Zach Carter, they impressed me. But like you said, we played probably too many snaps down the stretch. You really got to have that rotation going so guys can stay fresh throughout the year, because it's a long season. And having trust in what I've seen in those guys develop and the snaps that they're getting in the preseason, it's really going to help us down the stretch. I'm positive.
Yeah, that's the great thing about the preseason. You get to see a lot of the guys who may not play as much in the regular season kind of show their stuff now in August. And like yourself and all the other starters, you're not really playing in the preseason anymore. But looking back when you were a rookie back in 2018, were there any things that you remember that you were like, oh, I was overthinking this, or I wasn't really playing like instinctually? Was there anything that you remember about like playing your first preseason games? And have you had moments now as a vet where you've helped out maybe like a wide-eyed rookie like Cam Sample last year, maybe some guys this year?
Yeah, I like to put things in perspective for those guys, because, they look at me now like a veteran on a second contract with a lot of experience, and don't imagine that I was a rookie too. I told a couple guys of the rookies after their first preseason game who were a little down on themselves but played good. My only comment for my first preseason and NFL game was just on the ground too much. And it's just the speed of the game. Everyone's going to develop, and just helping those guys, not to put too much pressure on themselves, and gain that confidence day by day by putting in the work is something I take pride in as a leader of the unit.
Sam, with regards to the defense and how things are looking this year, you've got Lou Anarumo now. It's his fourth year in the system. He's kind of got his guys and everything in place there. What kind of wrinkles or new things might the defense be working on? Might we see this year because of guys like Dax Hill and others in the fold? Is there something new, or is it kind of just going to be, hey, we were really effective in doing a lot of different things well last year. Let's kind of stick to what we know and what we do best?
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to give anything away, but I think where we're at as a defense with Lou is we have over the years, so many of us have played together so long and have the continuity with Lou that we've had so many different situations and installs and defenses that we kind of perfected over the years that we don't necessarily always go to, but he has the confidence and we, have the reps and experience that situations arise in the game throughout the season, that he has the confidence in us to go to something that we haven't necessarily practiced that calls for in a game that we weren't expecting or didn't scout. And we can really be flexible and adjust and do a variety of different things that the situation calls for just because we have that continuity and time together that you can't really, I don't know, create any other way.
Yeah, this is a safe space, Sam. Like Dax is pretty good for Wolverine, right? Like he's pretty good. Yeah,
I've been impressed with him. He's a good player. I like Dax a lot.
But it's not like he's doing anything different than what he's doing like the entire offseason. It kind of seems like he's been kind of on point ever since he's got here.
Yeah, he's handled himself like a pro. He's doing everything you can ask and hope for him. It's a unique situation with Jesse. We obviously miss Jesse, but he stepped in and done an amazing job. And I'm sure that whenever that situation plays out, we need him on the field. He's shown that he can make plays. And last night he made another big play. And I like him as a person too. He works hard. He goes about his business and does the right things.
Buckeye and Wolverines getting along now that they're both Bengals. You got to love that. I don't know details of conversations and whatnot. Obviously, are probably private. But I mean, have you been speaking with Jesse during his time kind of away from the team? And you mentioned that Dax Hill has kind of been stepping in nicely and doing some different things. Obviously, has played well in the first 2 preseason games of his career in this season, but. Have you been speaking with Jesse pretty regularly? And, I assume he's keeping up with his own workouts and what he needs to do. Yeah,
Jesse and I came in together. He's a close friend. He's a credible worker, credible leader. I know he's working hard, doing everything he can to be ready for whatever happens. And, his situation, I just love playing with him. That's all I'll say.
So we've been talking with Sam Hubbard here for the past 15 minutes. We're going to get a couple more minutes with him, and then he's going to tell us about the things that he's doing with Miller Lite. But I got to ask Sam, because I don't know if we're going to be able to talk with any other defensive linemen or linebackers here. How has practicing been with the Guardian caps? I can't imagine that's been like anything that you guys have ever been used to. Like, does it feel like noticeably different?
They're different. I mean, they just look really weird, and they take up a lot of space. I don't know. It's going to be a process probably getting used to them. I don't know. It's just everyone's walking around with gigantic heads out there.
It's definitely a different look. I remember there was a Buffalo Bills player in the 90s who had one of those big helmets. I think his last name was Kelso, Steve Kelso, I think. Anyway, besides the point, Sam, what is the team? You kind of talked about it at the beginning of our interview here, what you're kind of doing, how the team's approaching things. But is there talk of Super Bowl hangover in this locker room? Is there talk of how to avoid that or anything that specific? Or is it, hey, we're doing our thing, we're getting back to business, and we're just getting started here based on what we did last year?
Yeah, no, there's no talk of that. We got a big week 1 opponent. We got to prepare for that. And then we'll have a big week 2 opponent. It's just it's a tough league. You can't start thinking about getting to the Super Bowl. You got to take it game by game, win your division, win at home. We know that we're now going from the hunters to being the hunted, and a lot of people are going to bring their best shot when they play us, which is not something that's happened here for a while. So we got to be prepared for that.
And now you got a couple practices and then a preseason game against the last team that you guys faced in the Rams. You got any revenge reps in line for those practices?
I think this week of practice is going to be very intense. There's going to be a lot of good competition, a lot of game speed reps, and we're looking forward to the work.
Well, it'll be an interesting week for sure. Not only in the practices, but leading up to the game and the game itself. They're talking with Sam Hubbard, who is joining us courtesy of Miller Lite. We thank him for joining us once again on our program. Sam, Miller Lite's doing a really cool thing where they are. You will tell us a little bit more about it, at least better than I can describe it. But they are taking actual earth from home fields and sprinkling it in barley fields in which they brew the beer. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. So I've been helping them out with this program, and I know what it means to play for your hometown team. And they're trying to make an initiative to connect fans to their hometown team. And like you said, they're taking earth from the practice fields, sprinkle it on their barley fields, and that goes into the beer. And so while you're enjoying your beer, watching the Bengals, you feel more connected to your team.
This is where we represent, the place where Bengals history is made. To honor our fans, we're taking the earth from here and bringing it here. So our barley fields are fed not just by the sun and rain, but by the pride of Ohio.
And you can, of course, get Miller Lite at the newly named Paycor Stadium. What do you think about the name, by the way, Paycor Stadium? How do you like the renaming? It's been Paul Brown Stadium forever and your entire career. That's got to be a little weird, but kind of cool, right?
Yeah, it's different. I think it's a sign of the times. I think they're doing a good job, doing what they need to do to take us into the wherever we're going.
21st century and beyond, right?
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. Well, you can get Miller Lite at Paycor Stadium, and of course, you can enjoy that beverage while watching this guy dominate on Sundays as he did last year. Sam, congratulations on a great year personally and as a team last year. We know that more and more is ahead for you and the Cincinnati Bengals. And honestly, man, we can't thank you enough for always making time for our show. We really appreciate it. Anytime, open invite, anytime you want to come back on, we'll carve out time for you. We appreciate it. And you've been very generous to John and I, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, I love coming on with you guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care.